The surprising reason why conflicts escalate and what you can do about it. So, when our partners get triggered and they begin to react to either something that's happening in life or something that you're doing or not doing or saying or not saying in the relationship, what typically happens with most people is they get counter triggered by their partner getting triggered. And immediately we're off to the races. It's like a ping pong going back and forth that just escalates into this feverish fight where perhaps you're getting defensive, they're getting defensive, there's attacks being blasted back and forth, and both people are fighting to be right, fighting to be heard, and to be understood. In our brains, the mechanism of what this looks like is when they get triggered, their prefrontal cortex goes offline. The most evolved part of their brain goes offline. They go into fight or flight. And right when that happens, most people, if they're not practicing and cultivating this skill, ours go offline as well. And then we both go into this fight or flight response, and either we're getting big or we're withdrawing. We're not keeping our center. We're not keeping balance. So the path of mastery when this happens is to stay in a regulated, balanced, steady state when your partner's prefrontal cortex goes offline. And for you to find your center, to breathe through whatever it is that you're feeling, and to allow yourself to increase the distance between the stimulus, them reacting, and the response, which is you then coming from a place that's intentional so that you can de-escalate the situation. A couple ways that I find can be helpful to do this are to ask yourself a couple questions as you go into the state. The first one is, as your partner is escalating and noticing that she is or he is reacting, ask yourself, all right, where do I want to respond from? Maybe take a couple deep breaths, feel the sensations in your body, and even ask the question, okay, what am I feeling in my body as my partner is experiencing this? Another question you can ask yourself while this is happening is, what is the hidden request that my partner has that they are not speaking clearly right now? What is the hidden request my partner has that they're not speaking clearly right now? This will allow you to get out of the noise, out of the distortion, and underneath to the vulnerability and perhaps the hidden request, the thing that they're wanting and needing in that moment. Just to get curious about that. And then the other thing that you can begin to ask yourself is, all right, what is it that my partner might be afraid of right now? What is it that they are fearful might happen? Maybe they're afraid of being abandoned. Maybe they're afraid of never having your full presence. Maybe they're afraid that something is going to go off the rails or something is going off the rails. The more that we can connect with these questions, they can slow us down and keep us out of the default questions that we typically ask, which is, why am I being attacked right now? Why is this so unfair? What did I do to deserve this? What are they to blame for? What are they not seeing right now that I need to prove to them? So that they can start to see it. These are the places that we typically go, which then lead to an escalation on our part. So bring yourself back to those questions that we talked about earlier so that you can find that gap. You can create a deeper pause between what's happening outside of you and where you're coming from so that you can begin to respond rather than react.